guys, it's Kim here with Fairly Fiber Fun. Thanks for joining me today on another show and tell. This is, I believe, show and tell 12, and it is Tour de Fleece Week 2 recap. Week 3 recap. Oh my gosh, I got about 5 hours of sleep last night, so please bear with me. I'm exhausted, and if you guys see dark circles around my eyes, it's because I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and to go to the bathroom, which is normal, and when I went to bed, every time I tried to fall asleep for the next 2.5 hours, I kept sneezing. So, which woke me up, and then my brain would kick into high gear, and I'd think all the things that I need to get done today, and then I would convince myself to relax and go to sleep, and I'd sneeze again. So, I fell asleep about 30 minutes before my alarm rang, a little bit after 6. I got maybe 30 minutes of sleep after 3, so about 5 hours is it. I'm recording this in the morning, and I'm going to take a nap after lunch. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you the little bit of spinning that I did in week 3 and all the dyeing that I did, because I did a lot of dyeing. And not all of it was Tour de Fleece spun yarns. So at the end of this episode, instead of sharing my usual little spinning clip, I thought I would share with you a brief nature video. If you are a new viewer, welcome, and thank you for spending some time with me. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for continuing to watch my shows. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. So I have right here all the yarns that were spun, almost all the yarns that were spun during Tour de Fleece. Some of them are in front of me because the basket's overflowing. So now I'm going to pull out the ones I spun during week 3. And if today's a little more random than usual, I apologize. I am just exhausted. So I had some art bats, sparkle bats that I had made with Targhee. It's one of the first Targhee bats I made on my drum carder. And I was playing with different ways to layer colors on the carder. So and I can't find it now, I have a little tiny necklace that I was wearing on last week's episode that was an attempt to make this yarn right here, and I used the wrong core. I used the wrong thread for applying, and it didn't work, so I turned it into a necklace. And then I finished this with a different thread. So these are a bunch of coils. I spun a thick and thin single, and then I made super coils when I applied it. And it's okay. I'm not 100% happy. It's got loads of texture. It's got little bits that are wanting to fall out and sticking out everywhere, but it's really cool. I ended up with about 14 yards, and this is 16 grams. What did I call that? I applied it with some merino. I had spun this in a single, and I used this as supply thread, and it was lightly spun, and it kept breaking on me while I was making coils, but I made it work. It was a fun experiment, and I really had fun playing with different ways to make art type yarns. Something I don't normally do. It's really hard because I don't have a wheel with a large orifice, so my wheel's not set up for art yarn. I took another section of the same fiber because I had made one bat and split it into thirds, and then 1/3 just left it as was, and the next third I had changed the color layout, ran it through the carder again, and then I had done a different way of doing color with the third piece. So, and I don't know which one was which because I didn't pay attention to that. I just grabbed and spun. So this is a core spun, just a plain core spun, and I really like the way it looks. I never thought I would like core spun yarn, but I do. I really do. It's really nice. So I have 20 yards of this after washing, of course, and it is 22 grams. And I weigh everything in grams because my scale does not do 2 decimal points on the ounces. It doesn't do any decimal points on the grams. But I figure I get much better, more accurate weight with grams. So, and then this is the last bit that I spun, and I spun it as a single. It's a little thick and thin. Okay, was it a purposeful thick and thin single, or was that just happened? You know what? I don't remember. That's what happens when you wait 2 weeks to record. It's thick and thin. I don't know if it did it on purpose or not. But it's 106 yards and 24 grams. So it's, I think, almost an ounce, just shy of an ounce. So, and it's really, really soft. But I had trouble getting the Angelina to spin into the yarn. It wants to fall out. So it'll probably fall out as I use this yarn. You know, knitting with it, and then whatever I knit, wearing it. So, but that's okay. It's life. So those are my fun yarns that I did. I think I did them in 2 days. I had a lot of fun with these. These were a nice, relaxing, fun, low pressure spin that I just had an absolute blast with for the last leg of Tour de Fleece. And I ended up spinning 420 yards in week 3. And that's finished yarn, but not scoured yet or washed. So before washing, but after all the spinning is done. If that even makes sense. Okay, so right quick, with all the yarns in this basket and this one. Oh, I didn't tell you about this one. Not much. This is my biggest spin for week 3. It's 204 yards and 87 grams. This is merino that I spun from the cloud. I had dyed this little bit of fleece in an attempt to create purple by mixing brilliant blue and fire red, I think. And it came out this beautiful wine type color, and the colors split. And I've got blue sections and redder sections and purpley sections. It's really pretty. Not what I was going for, but it's very, very pretty. And it's a simple 2-ply. So this was the biggest spin for week 3. And it went really fast because I'm spinning it a bit thicker than I normally do. Just because that's how spinning from the cloud goes. I think this one turned out better than the last one I spun from the cloud. I don't know. This is a 3-ply. So maybe not, because the 3-ply makes it look different. I don't know. Anyway, what I forgot to show you for week 2 was these 2 little tiny skeins. I had spun these. They were brown cormo, and I had made bats out of it, and I just spun them up. So that was what was missing in week 2 episode. I'm dropping yarn everywhere. So the rest of this episode is all about dyeing, or the rest of this section. So these were the light blue cormo, and I put those and the brown cormo in the dye pot, and I threw in all my leftovers from my leftover jar, which was completely full. It wasn't straight dye stock because some of it had been watered down when I mixed, and all of it had been watered down because when I mix colors to dye with, I add water to it before I use it. I don't usually use straight dye stock because it's really concentrated. So this was perfect amount of fiber for the whole big quart-sized jar I used. That was full of dye stock. So the same color, the brown and the blue took the colors totally different. but it's really neat. I love how this turned out, and I especially like the brown. The blue turned out like a dark muted purple, and the brown turned into a reddish, dark reddish brown. A very muted maroon, maybe? I'm not sure what you would call this. It's really pretty though. And then I had other brown, one other brown skein I had spun, oh, I don't know, sometime earlier this year, and 2 other blue skeins that I had forgotten about when I dyed these. So I went to over dye those as well, and I had to recreate this because I wanted them to match, and I didn't get it right, but it still turned out good. So this is the second attempt, and this is the first one. Well, I don't know if you can see, besides the fact that this has been reskeined and this hasn't, I don't know if you can see very clearly on camera the difference, but the second batch is quite a bit darker. I think I got close to the color, just more saturated, and it's more tonal and it has black sections, or very, very dark, almost black. Anyway, so I had 2 of those, and when I was throwing dyes into the pot, kind of randomly trying to get the right color, ended up with way too much. So I had to throw in the Jacob skeins I had spun during the first week of Tour de Fleece. So I'll show you those in a second. But this is the same brown base, except I think, I don't know which was darker. One of them, either the small ones were darker or the big one was darker. I don't remember. Anyway, so there's a huge difference in the brown, which is okay. Somebody does all Cormo, doesn't matter. And then, since I had way too much dye stock, or dyes, in the dye pot, I had to throw these in there. These were completely white when I put them in. And they're a beautiful reddish color. I adore this color. It's my favorite. I didn't write down what I did though. So, I'm just going to show you one of each. So you can see the blue on this side, brown in the middle, and then the Jacob all together. So the same dye on a light blue base, a light brown base, and a white base. And of course you're not supposed to mix fiber types when you dye, but the Jacob is a very greedy fiber. It likes the dye. But it was the Jacob was the only fiber that bled like crazy when I washed all the skeins. So I had to wash these 2 Jacob skeins about 5 times, you know, soaking them for a little while each time to get the excess dye out. It's just there, it took too much of the dye, and then the dye didn't really, you know, didn't stick, or it was just too much. So this is it. There was, I can't read. For the entire tour, I had 2,989 yards spun during the 3 weeks of Tour de Fleece. On week 1 was 1,939 yards, not dollars. Week 2 was 630 yards, and week 3 was a whopping 420. So definitely lost my mojo as time went along, but I may be able to participate in Spinzilla, which is what I wanted to know. So, all the yarns, and I will insert a photo of all the yarns because I took a picture of them all together. So, I will insert that, and then, yeah, I am going to insert a little video of nature. We have a bush by our the front corner of the house, not really by the front door, and it's got these little tiny pink flowers on it. It's not butterfly bush. I don't know what it is. It grows like crazy every year, and I have to trim it back every year, and it goes absolutely crazy. And the butterflies and the bees love it. And lately, we've had a hummingbird moth hanging out around this bush. And I tried to get it to land on my finger, and it wouldn't do it. But while I was watching the hummingbird moth, the little skippers were also flying all around, and I scooped one off a flower, and it just hung out on my finger for a bit, which is really cool. So, and they are a very unique butterfly, because their front and back wings are not connected like most butterflies. They're separate, so they can fold the back ones down and put them up. It's really neat. They're small, but they're kind of pretty. So I'm going to let you guys go since my brain is all random and crazy and weird. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, please remember to subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. And I will see you again next time. Bye!